But yeah, I guess we can go to the 800 gallon. That's all that's left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in this.
Hello, world. How's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So, a little background before we get into this video. This was the same day we ended up shooting video of the whole fish room, the outside of Cory's, and also the 800. But somewhere between, or well, somewhere towards shooting the outside koi ponds, and that we ran out of battery, or I ran out of battery on my mic set, and we lost the audio, so we had to reshoot this, and we actually reshot it. This was the same day after that, and then we went to Dean's, did a fish room tour there, and then went to Corvus Oskin's, Joel's, and did a fish room there. So that was that night. So this was about 1 o'clock in the morning, but we still wanted to get it out to you guys, and Cory wanted to share it with you guys. So we still made it happen. And also I found the outro in my lineup of my media. I didn't see it earlier. I didn't know it went completely with the Studio One, or the main fish room, but he also talks a bit about the future of that towards the end of this video as well. So stay tuned for that, and let's get this rolling. Hey, one more thing. I would like to know what you guys would do with the 800 gallon. I know there's so many choices you could do, and it would be interesting to hear what you guys would do if you guys had a tank this size. Plus, I will still be going live tonight, as I always do, Friday nights, live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you got aquarium questions, always join us for that. It's a good time. And yeah, now let's do this.
So come on here, we'll check out the 800 gallon tank. It's 4 feet wide. It's 8 feet long. And it's 40 inches tall. 1 inch thick acrylic. Now currently, there's not a whole lot going on. We caught out all the tiger barbs. At one point there was as many as 300 tiger barbs in there. All those came out. Blood parrots came out. Big giraffe cats came out. And so now we're left with the Burmese archers, which are true freshwater archers. So they don't need to be in brackish or saltwater or anything like that. And we've got a Maboo puffer that I added in. This is Ladybird. We've got a few plecos and that kind of stuff, but we're running lots of meds through here currently, so that we've got a couple wild-caught clown loaches that are real skinny, and I want to get them nice and healthy, and then put in the decor. Like in the other room, we've got this giant pile of wood, and we want to plant it up and do all that, but we can't until I get everything healthy. I don't want to put that in there and have something die behind it and not notice it. So yeah, and I think the archers are kind of the feature. You know, I'm in love with these guys, like just the way they shoot stuff down, and we'll see if we can get them to shoot on camera here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
If I put some food up top, like right at, so it's all custom built here. There's a feeding hole that's right here. They'll shoot water out at us while we're working at the desk and that kind of stuff. We'll see if I can, yeah, they definitely like to eat.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if, well, they're gonna grab those, and then we'll see if they start shooting stuff down. Oh, still a couple more pellets. But they'll jump out of water to grab bugs. They'll do all kinds of stuff. And they've got crazy good vision, and that allows them really good accuracy while shooting.
You said you've seen them jump a foot up out of the water before?
Yeah, I've seen that where we've had the water level down low, and they'll jump out and grab stuff. We had an auto feeder there, and they would just shoot water until it knocked pellets out of it. And they were doing that, and then the food got all moldy because they were getting it way up in there. Like, you're like, oh, it's fine. And then one day you're like, oh my gosh, no, it's not. So, yeah, hopefully they'll start. You got to kind of be not moving because they'll watch you and they'll school around, and hopefully they'll do it here. It's never as good. Yeah, if I can stop dropping the food in there, and they'll see it, they'll shoot it. Lightning quick though. I'm considering taking out the clown loaches as well. You know, I'm thinking about maybe just focusing on the Maboo puffer, but it's hard to. I like every fish, you know, like, and the more I take out, the more I want to add back in. Like, I know I want a ghost knife, I know I want a rainbow shark, I know I want like all these things go back in. So it's almost like you're just trading players on a team. You know, like, yeah, you need to go sit on the bench over this other tank. Like, I've got another tank to bring in here. It's a 230-gallon tank. And, you know, so a lot of the fish could go there for a while, come back in. And, yeah, so the tank itself is on, like, a big, thick tubular steel. We're on a concrete pad here. If I pull some of these panels off, we've got a big 100-gallon sump. Behind that's another 75-gallon water reservoir, so it ends up being over 1,000 gallons itself. This is all the cleaning pads we put in. Because we, you know, the sump runs a lot of pads, and we make a lot of mess in here. So when it was full of fish, we put a pound of food in a day. So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of food.
Yeah, so that turns into a lot of poop. So we change water 4 times a day. Partial water changes, obviously. Of course, nothing lines up now that I took it off there, but I'll fix that in a minute. Had a nice fan make me this logo. Well, not the logo. We already had the logo, but this is the vinyl wrap to put on there, and I put it on myself so you can see right here where I messed up a little bit. But hey, I like it still anyway. You know, a lot of the water spots. Some of it's from catching fish, but a lot of times it's because they'll shoot water out. Because we'll sit at the desks here and they'll just keep shooting water out at us to get our attention, because then we'll come and feed them. So they're really smart. And, you know, like this guy down here is way bigger than you would think. It doesn't look that big until you drain the water and you look and you start going, wow, these things are actually getting massive. Because the internet says, like, oh, they get 6 inches. And I'm like, there's no way. And then when we drain it down to catch all the tiger barbs, you start seeing it go, oh my gosh, these are like 6 inches. These are big. And it's just the 800-gallon dwarfs it so much, I think, is the problem. You know, it's like, it doesn't seem that way, but I bet you if I caught them out and I put them in like a 75-gallon tank, I'd be like, those are huge.
Right.
Yeah. So we had originally an overhead sump up above, kind of by the ceiling, and that filtration was mixed with a UV sterilizer and all that, but it wasn't cleaning the water like mechanically enough. Chemically, absolutely fine. Like, we never had ammonia problems or anything like that, never a problem. But like right now, you can see there's a little bit of debris in here, and that's because we fed earlier today. And, you know, so it kind of whips around for a while. You kind of, with a big tank like this, you don't realize all the things you're going to deal with. Like, so I put in some really big wave makers and that kind of stuff. You really get that water whipping around. You can pick up all the poop and the dirt, and then like all the fish get tired out. So then, you know, you kind of got to go, I've gone back and forth, and I'd rather let it take maybe a few hours to clear after you feed than have it be just a whirlwind going on in there and that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, and things like this magnet here, you know, you don't think about it until you own a big tank, and something like this Mighty magnet costs $225 for the magnet. But it's so deep, your arm can only reach to like here. Like, you can't even get further. So I didn't want to spend $225, but we also don't want to get in the aquarium every time we want to do the algae in the last 8-10 inches.
Right,
so it was a have to. Yeah, and so this tank overall, people always ask, like, how much something like that cost? If you were to walk into my store and order one up custom, they're about 15 grand.
Wow.
You know, they're not cheap. They take a long time to get. A lot of people, that's what they don't realize either, is that, like, I've got the money, where is it? Something like this takes 3 or 4 months to have built. You know, and it's because they got to get the parts ready, you got to get the sheets in. The first time the sheets came in, they weren't 100% true and flat, so you had to send them back, get new sheets brought in, and then they're having trouble getting the sheets I wanted. So this tank's 40 inches tall. I originally had ordered it at 36 inches tall, because you take a 6-foot wide panel, you cut it in half, and boom. Makes a lot of sense. Saved me some money. But we couldn't get that panel in. They just weren't making them the acrylic, you know, manufacturer, or they're having problems, whatever the deal was. They could get 7-foot panels though. So we added a few more inches on, and ended up costing more. And it seems weird that, like, you add, like, oh, it's only like another 4 inches, like, adds $800. You know, you're just like, what? And it's like, well, bigger panels start getting more and more expensive. Same thing, like, to go, like, this is an 8-foot tank, right? And I was like, oh, I want to go 10-foot, because that's like one of the easiest next sizes up. You don't have to put any seams in it. It adds 20% cost right there, and it's on top. So, like, it's 20% cost per panel, but that's also like an extra premium. So if like one sheet, let's say, was $1,000, it's not just $1,200. It's like $1,200 plus another 20%. Like, it gets out of control real quick. Same thing with thickness. So if we go any taller, it had to get thicker. And you try to keep it thin anywhere you can. Like the top is only 3/4 compared to 1 inch. And it's because if you go to from 1 inch to 1.25 inches, the price is double. So literally, to go to something like the 10-foot by 6-foot tank, which I asked for a quote on, that's more like $30,000. You know, it starts getting astronomical, like out of control. But, you know, and like to put this tank together, they have to build custom jigs, and every time they would want to glue a new seam, they had to get a crew over to help move it. So like even though it's 2 guys that build it, to move these panels, once you start connecting a couple of them, it becomes so much weight. When we moved it in, I think we used 8 people with suction cup grips, and it was everything of everyone going, oh my God, it's so heavy. You know, and so you can imagine when you got to like turn that thing and get it on its end to be gluing seams, and you can't put stress on it because that will make the seam not good. So it's all this crazy stuff gets done to build a tank like this, and it's all custom. It's not like we'll build the machine, we'll crank out 800 gallons all day long. Every one of them is custom, and they have, you know, like I have a feeding slot right here. This is so I can feed 18 or 16 ounce flats of frozen food. You just slide it right in. I don't want fish jumping out, so we put that back on. You know, kind of weird stuff like that where it also doubles. So this, I had it serve 2 purposes. 1, I can feed an entire sheet of food. 2, I can put an AquaClear 110. So that way if I want to do any water polishing, or if I ever needed to get Purigen in there, or carbon, or need to pull meds out, like I've got a few access holes to do that kind of stuff, because it gets weird. You forget to build that kind of stuff in, like, oh man, sure would like to put a UV sterilizer on there for a little bit. Like, oh, I have nowhere to put that. So I built in extra things. We had all custom covers built, and you know, the machining on the lids is, if we got on ladders, you could see it's built in to be a flat top. It's perfect. You know, it's the same people that built my 360 gallon in the store, and I've got a 230 gallon built by them as well, and they build really good quality tanks. They don't flame polish anything, so every edge has been sanded and buffed, not with heat. So that way, like what happens is when you see all that crazing in acrylic tanks, that's usually because they heat up the welds, and over time that's not good. So, you know, it's a much more labor intensive process, but in theory, you're getting a much stronger tank. You know, he warranties them for life, and you know, I've never seen a failure of one of his tanks, and his tanks resell really well, and you know, I can't complain. It does cost money, but I've had a 340 gallon tank explode in my store, and it cost me, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So, yeah. But one of my favorite views is watching the fish kind of go back and forth on the 8-foot. That's why I wanted 6-foot left to right. It's because watching fish come towards you, like all the clouded archer just came towards you, and you know, watching like all the clownlets come back this way, it's just a fun view to watch that. So it's, you know, I perch up here a lot and kind of play with the fish, and you know, sometimes Jimmy will come on the side that you're filming from, and you can get them just to go from one side to the other. You know, it's kind of fun for me to watch schools of fish do stuff like that, because I don't see big groups of fish kind of move like that, besides just little tetras. You know, when you start getting bigger fish, like 6-inch fish schooling like that, to me it's cool. Like, not that small fish aren't cool too, I keep a bunch of those as well, but it's just another flavor, you know, for me. So
very cool. And it's really hard to keep water clear when you have that much depth too, the fact that
yeah,
it's this clean and clear.
Yeah, and this to me right now is dirty because we already fed earlier today, and like, you know, there's a few things I can keep the pads a little bit cleaner, but this is what the tank would really look like most times. You know, if it's in the morning, it'll be crystal clear until I feed, and then you're just putting so much food in there, that kind of becomes a problem, you know, and of clarity. And, you know, in nature, it's not this clear at all, but, you know, we strive for perfect, you know, and this isn't like doctored up. As you saw, we have all the water spots, we have algae everywhere. Like, this is just, if you were to walk in, kind of like you did, like, here's how it is. Like, we're in the middle. It's, you know, we're not putting on the YouTube video. It's not a show. We're in the middle of meds and all that kind of stuff, and we'll rebuild it. You know, it's quite a process, taking all the tops off, moving the lights, crawling in, starting to place wood, starting to do all these things, starting to plant. Like, that's going to take like a week to do that. And then you get on, you know, you start fixing the outside. Like, okay, let's get all the algae down. Let's get all the water spots off. Let's get all these things back together. Let's move the ladders out of the way. You know, put them back in the garage. But for now, you know, you just keep everything accessible when you know it's an active work zone. So, yeah, until we figure out exactly what we want to do. There's a lot of ideas running around in my head. One of the ideas is keep the water level 3/4 full. I've got all these like silicone vines and stuff. We can build a raft so that way we can launch, well, not launch, but we let crickets go on it. They crawl over the vines, then all the archers shoot them down. Like, it's super fun. We have a video on my channel where the archers are really shooting stuff, and that never gets old so far. I've never been like, oh, dang, they're only shooting stuff again. Like, it's amazing to see them shoot 10 feet outside the tank. Like, the accuracy, the fact that they can, like, shoot a bug and catch it before it even hits the water. Like, it's crazy what they can do. And yeah. I don't know why it's so fascinating. Maybe it's just because no other fish are doing it, but you can see there's a cloud on the back wall. That fish just pooped. Huh. Like, how do you fight, you know, that when you're like, oh, that much poop, you know, just comes out of the fish because they're 6-inch fish.
Right.
You know, so, you know, it'll get picked up. It'll get to the filtration. The water changes will happen, but, you know, you can't do much when fish go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. All right, so there you have it. There's a fish room tour of our Studio 1, right?
Studio 1, yeah. It depends on what room we're in, right?
It's evolving, right?
It is evolving. I'm thinking of setting up more tanks, and, you know, like, I want to get back to breeding. You guys have kind of seen a bunch of that stuff. Like, you can tell it's kind of set up to really crank out some fish, but I have so little time. And I have more access to fish than I've ever had, so it's like, oh, I really got to start doing this, but I'm supposed to travel. You know, I go find knickknacks like, you know, tiny sponge filters, something like this. You know, brought this back from China. You've never looked so crazy than bringing a giant sponge filter on public transit, the subways and that kind of stuff through China. Took hours to get home. My wife looked at me like I'm insane, and but I wouldn't mind finding a tank to put this in just because I think it's hilarious, just how big it is. Like, this is like serious. You know, I don't know, nerd level 9,000 here. Like, it's the hilarious part is I'm pretty sure it's just meant to be a display. Really? But I had to have it, and they're like, I think it was equivalent to like $30 US. And I was like,
that's not bad.
That's super cheap until you got to get it through TSA, and they're like, what are you doing? You know,
right, what is this?
Like, this is a giant metal thing, and like, it looks weird. When you unscrew it, it looks like, you know, what is that?
What are you guys hiding in there?
Yeah, exactly. They just assume like something weird's going on because they've never seen anything like it if it ever opens up here.
Trying to smuggle ancient Chinese scrolls.
That's right, you know. Oh yeah, so if you take it's built just like an old sponge filter, except for some of the custom parts, like right in the center, like this bad boy.
Oh yeah.
This is all like made by hand, but you know, that's some serious sponge right there. Like my head to,
right?
You know, like that's huge.
That's crazy.
But no, I definitely want to play with some more fish and have some fun. I get envious watching your videos. Like, oh, he's got all these tanks. Why aren't I doing that? Like, I could slowly set up one tank at a time. Pretty soon I'm at 300. You know, it only takes a couple years, as you've shown.
Yeah. I would love to see you do that.
I hope. I keep telling myself each year, like, I just won't travel. I'll breed fish, you know. And then I sign up for Aquashellas and AGA and all this stuff. And I'm like, I already know I have to. I probably already have like 8 events I have to go to this year, you know. And people are like, you haven't even signed up to. You said you'd come speak at our club this month or this year, and I'm like, I know, but I'm already traveling a bunch, you know. And like, I'm even turning down at this point. I've got an invite to go to like Peru and attend the Cardinal Tetra festivals and do a documentary and all that kind of stuff.
Would be cool.
And so I said I can't do it in 2018. I've already got a lot of obligations, but I can do it. Or I couldn't do it in 2019. That'd be right now, but I can do it in 2020. And so like I'm already booking trips like that at least a year out. And so that's where it gets the weird of like, I gotta stop booking things, and then I could have fish in 2 years? Like I get sad even thinking about that. Like I'm 2 years away from keeping fish. Like how dumb is that? Yeah. You know, like dang, that's
rough.
Yeah,
that's
but
rough.
there's like maybe in 3 years they would invite me to this event. So I almost feel like you got to go to these things.
Take that opportunity.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way.
It's like once in a lifetime.
Because they were saying they can get us like down on the actual like. Not stage, but like ground level. So you're not up in the stands. They're like, no, we can get you all the way down, like to be part of the festival. And I was like, oh, yeah. Dang, you know. And then we could do all the stuff out on the Amazon and educate the public and do all this stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of almost my calling. I almost have to do that. You know,
Right.
I don't really, I can't really choose to not do that. If you get invited, you pretty much have to go do that. You know, so that's what I'm looking forward to in 2020, and I've already booked out a lot of stuff this year, so we'll see what else I do in 2020. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I don't want 1,000 fish tanks and no time to enjoy them either.
Right.
That's no fun. That
You
makes
gotta
you
be
more
able
sad.
to take care of them,
Yeah.
and enjoy them, and that's what
I don't want to have like, oh, I got 4 employees taking care of my fish tanks. I saw them last month. It was crazy.
Right,
You know, like
yeah. It's
yeah.
not quite the same.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you enjoyed.
Yeah, hopefully you did. Maybe learned something. And yeah, check out Aquarium Co-op if you haven't.
Yeah.
They got all kinds of awesome content, doing big things in the hobby.
Trying to.
Trying to. You are. And you're doing a good job.
Well, thank
Keep
you very
trying,
much. I will keep trying.
'cause,
That's all you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all you can do. So, all right. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, until next time, everybody. Peace. Have a great one.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. I love it.